Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm back, and I look really different for some reason. Something's really different with my hair right now. Anyways, I will wrap up Form 5, and there's actually a lot of things to talk about. I don't know why, but I have so many things to talk about, yet none of them are that big, that crazy. So last time I left off with the LADs, which are okay, but not really all of that, groundbreaking or anything. The LADs are just LADs. Anyways, let's talk about Isaiah for a moment. Isaiah is a very strong, handsome, charismatic, athletic, and popular boy in 5C class. He is not a person that I knew ever since Form 1 because he never was with us. He was originally in Form 5, but he originally was supposed to go to Form 6, but he had to retake Form 5, so he returned to Form 5, I guess. And, or at least that's my theory, but that's very possible. Anyways, what's going on is that ever since Form 3, the second half of Form 3, I have this huge interest in Mary, and I'm beginning to notice things. Isaiah, especially between Isaiah and Mary, where one time Mary would be in our classroom and Isaiah would, come in and Mary would go to him and they would be very close to one another. Even though I only see them together like twice, I could immediately tell that something's going on between Isaiah and Mary, and it's so much more than friendship. I think they I think they dated, and it's fine. Isaiah is a really charismatic person, and everyone says he's a nice guy, but I really don't trust the guy. People like Oliver is like, yeah, he's a really nice dude. He's the captain of the volleyball team, and he's really serious. He likes every time he goals a volleyball, not goal volleyball, but every time he scores. His team of us, his Isaiah, Oliver, Kingsley, Grant, Dean, Andy, Ronald, the gang, the potato gang. Every time they get a score against another team, he would just scream like, ah, yeah, like a monster, and and he's a pretty extreme person. Now, why don't I trust him? Because he's too nice. Like, he acts very nice, but he doesn't seem nice. And I'm not the only person who thinks that Isaiah may actually not be that good of a person. Natalie, in fact, also thinks so. But yeah, Isaiah and Mary, there you go. Actually, a couple months after I learned about Isaiah on the bus in May 2019, one day I was taking the bus and Isaiah suddenly went up to me and sat beside me and said hi. And that was a really weird moment. And of course I said hi, but it was really awkward and I didn't know what to do. I feel pressured, to be honest. Even though I wasn't like, sweating and panicking or whatever, but I feel like, okay, what the fuck are you doing? And then he's laughing like, like, what the fuck is that? He knows nothing about me, by the way. I've never spoken to him. And I don't know this, but maybe he knows that I like Mary. Maybe that's the problem, but I don't think that's really the case. If I am 14 years old now, I would probably think that's the case, but honestly, I don't think that's the case. Anyways, up next we have the Feast of Disgrace on April 2nd, 2019. Now, this is a huge incident. This is a huge damn incident. So, what happened was that after the midterms of the second semester of Form 5, okay? Suddenly I got a text from Leo saying that, oh, me, Pink, Natalie, Topher, and Cedric are going to have dinner together after we play basketball with a bunch of other people from the Bean Gang, and Jeffrey was there for some fucking reason. And given that I haven't seen Cedric in a really, really long time, I was like, damn, I gotta go. And also, I want to go out. I want to socialize. I want to meet people. I want to experience, So, of course, I went outside on that day. I arrived at somewhere not that far away, but still. So essentially what happened was that in the beginning I tried to troll Cedric. Okay, so when I arrived there, I was in a purple hoodie, and I had my sunglasses, my shades. And so I put up my hoodie with shades on, because usually I don't go out. Usually I miss out on everything. I'm the loser. I'm the outsider. Okay. So I actually arrived at the basketball court, and nobody really recognizes me. And then Cedric was waiting for me, and Cedric didn't recognize me. And then I showed up, and he's like, "You son of a bitch." And then I continued my disguise, and Marty saw it, and Marty's like, "Haha, you're the director." I don't know how is being a director and having a disguise connected, but sure. Anyways, I arrived there, and Leo's asleep because he was very tired, but actually he wasn't. He was actually sick. But at first we thought he's just tired, so Leo was asleep, and I tried to troll him. Like when he wakes up suddenly, this random dude in a purple hoodie shows up. And then Topher was there. Topher wasn't playing basketball. He was at the sides, sitting on the bench, and just talking like a cool dude. And Adam was there, and several other people were there. Natalie was there, obviously. And Topher's like, "Hey, you know what? I know a lot about, I know a lot of secrets. I know a lot about people and stuff. Oh, remember Miss Solomon? Yeah, back in Form 1, I confronted Miss Solomon face to face. Like, I have the ball." So Topher is being really cocky, and it's really annoying, and I hate him. Anyways, I didn't mind, to be honest. Like, afterwards, me, Natalie, Cedric, Leo, Pink, Topher, we took a bus to somewhere even farther away from home to sort of have dinner. And I stayed quiet because Topher's there. And honestly, I and Pink and Leo were not that close yet. I mean, I and Leo are kind of friends, but Leo's also been friends with the Bean Gang. And I and Pink were not that close at that point anyways. And I and Natalie were also, like, were not that close at that moment, so it was pretty familiar to me, yet awkward to me. So eventually we arrived at the dinner place, and there was this Western food place, where you order, very nice spaghetti. It's not anything that grand, it's still, like within the budget. And it's, not that extravagant or anything, but, we ordered pasta, pizza, but it's like mini pizza, super thin crust and all that. And I saw the menu, and I'm like, damn, that's very expensive. And Natalie's like, haha, you always want to save your money. Come on, spend some. So at the end, I did order something, and we ate. And throughout the whole time, Leo was kind of asleep because he was actually sick, and Pink was tending to him, and Pink wasn't saying anything. And it was so awkward. I and Cedric, I hated Topher a lot, and I and Cedric, we were whispering to one another, and at several points actually, we were secretly texting to one another in our phones while we were sitting next to each other. But while we were whispering to one another, Topher would suddenly yell, like, can't you be even quieter? And it's very mean. And it's not even, Topher may think that I was talking shit about him, but actually I wasn't. But it was so awkward, it was so uncomfortable. I didn't eat much, and I didn't enjoy the meal all that much either. It was so bad. It was such a terrible experience. At one point, I was doing this, and I didn't say anything, and I was super calm. And Natalie's like, "Do you want some more?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good." And Natalie's like, "You're scary. I don't know what you're thinking." See, I spooked Natalie. Out of here, Natalie. Get out of here, Natalie. Get out of here. Natalie's the kind of person you don't feel bad bullying because because Natalie's such a psychotic monster. But yeah, that is, ladies and gentlemen, the Feast of Disgrace. And Cedric defended me at some points. Cedric's like, hey, it's just a dinner. We don't have to talk. Let's calm down, okay? Like, the tension is so damn high, it's ridiculous. And in the following few days after when I went to school, Pink suddenly spoke to me. Pink suddenly, hey. So Topher's being really mean to you. And I think Topher shouldn't be mean to you. So do you want to have another dinner with me, Leo, and Cedric? And I'm like, I mean, that's unnecessary, but I really thank you for your care, you know. So at that point, Pink speaking to me is still like a little weird, you know, like why? But little do I know, about 5 months later, I and Pink would become close friends. And yeah, very unexpected, but it happened. Anyways, let's talk about something more lighthearted. We have the magic trend and the chess trend. Now, the chess trend, I forgot if it's in Form 5 or Form 4. I think Form 4. But for a while, we really love chess. I think it's Form 4. And it's crazy. Americans don't do this, okay? Because their education system just don't allow this. Now, playing chess at school is illegal. Unless you're in the chess club, right? But if you're playing chess during class, of course it's illegal. Of course it's against the rules. But whenever we're in LS class, because the teacher is very young and sucks at teaching, so we always bully the teacher. But we're actually simultaneously really, really nice to that teacher. And it has become not bullying actually, but trolling her sort of. And we would bring all these chess boards to school, like classical chess, you know, and the Chinese chess. And we would always secretly play chess, and then the teacher would walk by and we would hide the chessboard. Now, I don't play chess, and I'm not really an expert or anything, so I didn't participate at all. But it was still really, really funny. Another thing is the magic trend. Suddenly, people like Marty and Edward would bring stacks of cards to school and like other magical items, and they would perform magic. And people like Olivia, Anne, and Jordana would really, really love these magic shows. And Olivia will go and for some reason they would go on to form a magic club, which Marty and Edward did not join, but the girls are. And it's a totally useless, worthless club. Instead of having a movies club or a modern music club, you're gonna have a totally worthless club called the Magic Club. Good job. But yeah, there we go, the magic trend and the chess trend. Up next, we have the open day, which happened in April. Now, this time I'm not the MC. I already was the MC in Form 4, but Tyrus was the MC. So there's that. And on I think day 1 of open day, I don't have much to do. I didn't sign up for anything. I'm not in any club. I'm in drama club. That's the only club I was in, but we didn't really have to do anything. And obviously I didn't win an award in Form 5, which is a little upsetting, to be honest. But it's whatever, you know, no one really cares. Anyways, at one point, our chemistry teacher, Miss Hershey's, came up to me and Nick and said, hey, how about you two help out in the chem lab during the open days? The first one, at least. We have 2 open days, one on Friday, one on Saturday. And I'm like, and then I'm like, okay, whatever. It's not like I have a choice. So I and Nick, we went to the chemistry lab, and people from elementary school and their parents would come by, and we would show them neat little tricks like playing with dry ice, you know, making colorful bubbles and stuff. And I didn't know this, but actually there were girls from 5B who were also going to be like helpers with us. And one of them is Miriam, and I know Miriam pretty well, and also Miriam's friends, who were also originally like people from like people that I know, my classmates back in Form 3. So we actually got along with one another, and we played with dry ice, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun, and they were really playful girls. They're not the popular kind of girl. In fact, they're probably the least popular group of girls in the entire form. Like, they were just a bunch of innocent girls who just no one cares about. But they're friendly, they're nice, and they just played with dry ice, and I'm like, yeah, let's play. So at one point, I grabbed a piece of dry ice with my bare fingers for 1 millisecond, and it was like, damn, it hurts. It really hurts. Don't do it. But you can do it for a millisecond. No, don't do it. The piece of dry ice that I picked up with my fingers is a really, really small piece. If it's a really big piece, then I may get frostbite, to be honest. But it was small enough, and I touched it for time short enough so that I didn't hurt myself, so that's pretty great. On the second day of open day, I was walking around looking for Cedric. Sharon was also looking for Cedric. And in the closing ceremony, our principal had announced the next principal, because our original principal is retiring, and our next principal turns out to be our biology teacher, which isn't a surprise, but also a surprise because he wasn't a vice principal, or yes, he was a vice principal, but there was already another vice principal before him, but that person didn't get the job. But our biology teacher got the job anyways. And honestly, I don't mind. I think he's a great person. He's really smart, maybe a little strict, but for good reasons. And he's very understanding. So there's that. All right. Afterwards, in May 1st, I and like the rest of the entire world, I originally was against this. Like, come on, like I don't want to do this. But apparently, the whole world is doing this, so it's whatever. So basically, the teachers were handing out forms like, do you want to do some exams that is organized from others in other universities? The reason why we do these exams is that if we do really well in these university exams, or more like secondary school level exams prepared by universities, if we do them really well, we may get an offer from those universities. We're talking about Polytechnic University in Hong Kong. And at that point I was like, oh, come on, I'm going to Los Angeles, okay? This is not like, it's not gonna work. But the entire world is doing it, so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do one. So I did the chemistry one, and it was pretty bad. I did pretty poorly, not gonna lie. I did do a quick revision in the morning, like a 20-minute notebook revision on the way there on the bus, because I don't have time anyways. If you think that you have time in Form 5 and Form 6, you are dead wrong. There's so little time. There's so little time. Sometimes you don't even revise for a quiz or a test. Maybe you revise for 3 seconds before it starts. Like, it's really, really intense. We sleep for like 3 hours, 4 hours every day. Some people even less, like 2 hours. Some people don't even sleep. We study when we have lunch. We bring our notebooks and our textbooks and our notes when we have lunch. We buy lunch from outside, take away, and we go back to the classroom and study. In recess, we study. During class, in between classes, we study. In the morning, we study. We study all the damn time. We do things every damn time. We do homework during class, like from other classes. And it's just so intense. And there are and even though I try my very, very best to, do things as fast as possible, it's still not fast enough. It's still not fast enough. There are people who finish everything super fast, and I am not the fastest, definitely. I'm actually rather slow. And yeah, it's very, very intense. Like, the timing, the everything, it's really intense. Plus all the drama. stress. It's pretty problematic. Um, yeah, you may understand stress, but as an Asian student, we understand stress really well. Anyways, little secret. Suki told me okay, physics class. Nick, I and Nick, we didn't sit with one another anymore because the seats changed, and I was alone. And because I don't have friends, and Leo and Pink they're sitting together, so I was alone. And Natalie and Topher are together, of course, and so I was alone, and it was terrible. I feel sad. I feel really really bad. And then one day, for some reason, Suki and Oliver joined me, which is really heartwarming. They're actually really nice people. And Suki told me a secret, and that is her sister and my brother, her younger sister and my younger brother, also studied in the same class in the same school, in the same elementary school, that is, which is kind of surprising, really cool. And I said, okay, when I go back home, I'll yell at my brother. And Suki's like, oh, no, and I'm like, I'm just kidding. So yeah, they're pretty nice. Anyways, fast forward to mid-May, where we have the 2 sports days on the 2 consecutive Fridays. And I signed up for being an officer for electric board. Turns out the stadium does not have an electric board. So I and Nick, we also signed up for being an officer. So is Zane from Class B, who used to be friends with Flynn and Queenie and still are, of course. We went to the place, to the room, to that staff room, and the teachers are like, oh, the board doesn't exist. And we're like, then what do we do? And the teacher's like, wait here for a sec. And then some other teachers would come by and they would have no idea what to do with us. And then at the end they were like, okay, just go back to your seats. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to just sit down and watch like a total loser. It's boring and I don't want to do that. I feel like a loser because no one speaks to me and I feel like I'm not contributing. I want to contribute. I want to do something. So what happened was that how am I gonna illustrate this? This is so tough to illustrate. So this is the sports ground, all right? This is the track and the field in the middle and also in the side. Track and field, right? And then beside the track and field are sort of little rooms and also just a rooftop. A rooftop. And the reason why it's like this because the whole stadium is designed like a trapezium like this. So there are there's the observatory like on top. So when I was downstairs in the staff room, on top of me, like right on top of me, are people on the stairs, just sitting on the stairs and watching. And it's like this, like if you get it, so the rows they go up so that everyone can see it. And the people, like the committees of the houses, and apparently a lot of people joined the committees. Pretty much the entirety of Potato Gang joined it. Mary joined it, Linda joined it, Queenie joined it, I think. So everyone joined it. Queenie was in still, yeah. So everyone joined it. I didn't because I was a loser and I was afraid that it's going to be too much work because I'm a loser. So instead, in front of me was a table, and by the table it's Natalie and also the teacher. And Natalie is the announcer. She has the microphone and she announces which students, their names, their class number, their name. Please go to this place to prepare because they're about to run 100 meters or something. She's the announcer. The entire school is being commanded by her powerful voice. Damn. What happened was that I came up to them and I said, "Can I join?" And so I became the backup announcer. Now the shame in that is that no one recognized my voice, but I actually announced a few times. And at first I was like, oh, I'm a little nervous because the entire school, including all the teachers and principals, will hear my voice. If I mess up something, it's gonna suck. But actually I did pretty well. Yeah. And for both the sports day, I was the announcers. Now at that point, I still wasn't in good terms with Natalie. Like, we don't hate each other, but we're not really that good with one another because Topher hates me and Natalie's dating Topher, or dating. And towards in the second sports day, also the final sports day, I started to speak to Natalie like really seriously, like actually opening up to her. On the first sports day during lunch, I wasn't with Natalie. I was with Nick, and we were coincidentally with Sandra and Bean Gang as well. And Sandra, she was talking about drama, gossiping, of course, and she mentioned Topher and Natalie. So I joined in, and she's like, you probably know nothing about this," and I'm like, "I know, okay? I'm in the game. Why can't you see? Why can't you all see?" Because I'm a loser, of course. But apparently Natalie and Topher had an argument. So in the second sports day, I and Natalie, we spoke to one another, and while we didn't become close again after that, it's still cool that we were able to speak to one another. And also Matt, he was also a backup announcer. All right. At the end of May 31st, is when Natalie completely hated Topher. So one time, Natalie, Leo, and Pink, they went to McDonald's and I followed them. And it was on that day that I opened up to Natalie. Like, for the past few months, every time I see friends hanging out together, people laughing, people smiling, I feel like I'm being punched in the face. I feel insulted. The more people laugh, the angrier I get, okay? And I said, sometimes I just want to hurt people because it would be so fair. It would be so much fairer because I have gone through this much suffering because I was this lonely. So I opened up. I said all these things and I wasn't supposed to say all these things. And I wasn't supposed to say all these things, but I said it to her anyways. And I never acted like this in front of Leo and Pink. But they wasn't like, "Oh my god, you're a different person." Like, they pretty much understood me. And I even, like, I was so aggressive. Like, back then I would be like, "Oh, I want to, I want to tell Natalie, my feelings, my thoughts, but I don't want to challenge her." But on that day I challenged her. Like, "You said you're good at reading people, right? Read me. And Natalie just, Natalie's like, "Nah, not now. I can't do it now. You're hiding it, so not now," and stuff. So yeah. So I actually progressively became more and more aggressive towards Natalie after that. And also after May 31st, 2019, I and Natalie, we never argued ever again. Kinda. Though we had small, quarrels in WhatsApp, but they were respectful quarrels. They were not quarrels like I actually hate you and don't want you in my life kind of quarrel. Yeah, so, but I got progressively more and more aggressive towards her. It was actually really fun. Like, I really loved insulting her. I guess it's because Natalie just insults me all the time and calls me an idiot and calls me a dumbass and calls me useless all the time. So it's just kind of like revenge, essentially. Yeah, that's what happened. In the beginning of June is the exam month. It's the final exam of Form 5, and it's a really important exam. In the beginning of June, it was raining. And one day, for some reason, I and Nick, we decided to not go with Bean Gang because they are just so mean to us. They kick us out, they abandon us, they call us idiots and morons. So we went with Potato Gang again. We were always jumping from, okay, should we follow Bean or follow Potato? So we followed Potato again, and Potato is definitely nicer than Bean. And then suddenly we ran into Mary, and it started raining. Now, only a few people had umbrellas. I had one because I was smart. And so did Mary because she was smart. And while we didn't share one umbrella because we both have umbrellas, we shared umbrellas with other people. But that's the umbrella incident, essentially. I'm pretty sure Mary wasn't thinking of anything. But when, in that moment, I was thinking of everything, okay? So that's basically the umbrella incident. Afterwards, you have black magic. Black magic is basically magic, but dumb. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you if you don't know what black magic is. But it's really, really funny. The people in Potato Gang, they play it a lot. And say one person is the gun holder. And a group of people must play it, okay? So bang, 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 bang. Who's dead? And so everyone's guessing, and some people know the right answer to it, and we'd be like, "It's you," and the person is like, "What? Why me?" So it took a while, and it took a while for me to understand how, but I figured it out myself. Like going online and search for the explanations, or having someone tell you the reason behind this, it's illegal. Okay, you can't do that. And then there's another black magic. There are only two black magics that I understand. Every other black magic I don't understand at all. But there's the other black magic, and that is open door, closed door, open door, closed door. Is the door opened or closed? So if I say open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, then it's open. But if I say open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, it's still open. But if I say open, close, close, open, 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 close, open, open, close, it's closed. Now, some of you may get it, some of you may not, but I will not reveal the answer. But this is a lot of fun. Alright, anyways, one morning, the stress is getting to me. I saw that everyone's ignoring me, abandoning me. I tried to catch people's attention, talk to them. No one spoke to me. I got so upset that morning, I kicked the trash can. And Jordana, I don't know what the hell she's doing. She's like, "Whoa!" And Betsy's like, "Are you okay?" And in the spur of the moment, I was like, I said, "The world is too perfect." So I was really upset on that day for some reason. And then afterwards, we had the Chinese speaking exam, or I forgot if it's the mock one or the real one, but I had one with Wendy. So I wrote, the detective that I am, I wrote down all the, because when we have Chinese speaking exam, it's going to be totally randomized, meaning that I will be paired up with a random person from B class, a random person from C class, a random person from D class, and a random person from E class. Or maybe one more. It depends. And it'll be totally random. So it's very likely that I don't know them. That is why during the exam, it's going to be fair in that we're not gonna, start dominating others because we're actually secretly friends. So with this system, every time, like a couple weeks before the speaking exam, the teachers will give us the list of on which day, what time, which room, and with which other students. And they're not going to write names. On the list, on the piece of paper, it's only their class and class number. So I wrote down all the class and class numbers, and I went to 5D, and I looked at the seat list, the seating plan, because the teachers, they also printed, every time they change our seats, they have to print out a plan of who sits where. So I went to the sitting plan and I looked at my list, and I saw Wendy, and at that point Wendy was right beside me on at my left, and I looked at her, and she saw my piece of paper with the numbers, and then she looked at me, and then we're like, huh, and then that's it. But Wendy's a really nice person too. I'm getting a nice person vibe from her. It's just sad what happened to her in November. It's just really ridiculous too. All right, next thing is the protests on June 9th. Okay, I don't want to get too political here, and if I talk about this, I can talk about this for a very long time. But essentially, the Hong Kong government was about to pass this extradition bill, which allows the mainland China to grab whoever they want, go back to China, and put them in jail or torture them or execute them in secret. I don't know. And so a lot of people went onto the streets to protest against this. And then after a couple of protests, the cops hopped in and they drew first blood, so it's now more like a police brutality protest, so everyone's fighting against the police, and there are all these fights, and it's getting really intense, and this protest lasted for 1 year long, and I'm very much on the protester side, by the way. So is almost everyone else, basically, in my school. A lot of people think the entirety of Hong Kong is on the protester side. That's very much not true. People who are parents or grandparents, old people, are likely to be on the government side and on the police side. Anyways, we have Untitled, the student union. Almost forgot about them. They made a huge mistake, and that is they made a statement on Instagram saying that they're politically neutral, and I respect that. It's a good decision. And also the fact that, well, that wasn't a problem then, but later it would be a problem. But the manager of the school is actually very pro-government and pro-police. But the students are very much not. So the school is just breaking apart politically. And the student union, Natalie student union, posted, hey, we're gonna remain politically neutral, and everyone begins to sort of comment mean things, insult the student union. The worst thing that happened was that one of them took a screenshot of the statement and put it on LIHKG, which is basically a Hong Kongers forum, a really underground Hong Konger forum, like basically Hong Kongers 4chan. And like 100% of the people in that forum is pro-protest, so everyone just hated on the student union, and it was disastrous. Natalie was under a lot of stress, but honestly, it's not even Natalie to blame. Ultimately, this is the decision of the twins, Valerie and Beau. So there's that. And I also helped out, speaking out on Instagram, saying that, hey, it's not Natalie's fault at all. Of course, Topher did that too, but no one cares. Anyways, we have the exam, which I did pretty average. At that point, it's pretty much impossible for me to excel, my performances are fixed already, and there are so many smart people in our classes, like Leo, Olivia, Kingsley, the trio, of course, but then we have people like Ed, who's secretly good at chemistry, and Andy, who's secretly good at biology, and Dean, who's secretly good at Chinese, and just for some reason, a lot of people secretly being good at stuff, and I'm just like falling behind. So that's the truth. On the last day of the exam, I had a gastric flu, and it was terrible. To celebrate the end of my exam, I had white congee, which sucks. It tastes like nothing. It tastes like water. It tastes worse than water. Okay, it tastes like mushy paper. It sucks. I hate white congee. Okay. Um, but yeah, when I had the gastric flu, it was a nightmare. I wanted to vomit, but I can't. Eventually, I did vomit though. But yeah, in the morning on that day, on the last day, which was an English speaking exam, I already had a stomach ache. And while in the group discussion, I was like having a little pain, but I still did really well. And Iris was with me in the same group, and Iris was usually, very good at English, but then there's me just completely destroying her. And then afterwards, I and Natalie, we took a bus back home, and then I vomited, and then I went to the hospital, and they gave me a shot, an injection at the hip, and then it was ridiculous. Anyways, July. Actually June still. Potato Gang, they opened a modded Minecraft server, and I actually joined the server for a while, but eventually they didn't do much. But it was crazy. Like, they were building rockets, they were messing with industrial craft, Ender IO, Applied Energistics. If you don't play modded Minecraft, please do. It's great. Anyways, afterwards in July we have the Interhouse quiz, and I kind of wanted to go onto the stage and compete, and a lot of people went onto the stage and compete. Natalie, Kingsley, Zara, Hector. Hector did amazingly, but I didn't, because the teachers told me to come back and be a staff again, when in fact Oliver almost told, because Oliver's in the comedy as well, the committee, so Oliver could have persuaded the captain of Orange House for me to join, but at last it was already too late. I was already in the staff, so of course it was boring, it was upsetting. There's this one other girl in the staffs who is this really extroverted girl who speaks a lot, and she's actually really nice. I and her, we get along really well. She's really friendly. At first I'm like, okay, whatever, and I answered her in the most normal way possible, but later on we got along, and we chat sometimes on Instagram as well. And she's not from my form, she's from a lower form, so there's that. Alright, July, right before we have our non-existent summer break. If you think that you're going to have a summer break between Form 5 and Form 6, you're wrong. There is no summer break. There is no such thing as summer break. You have to go back to school in summer. That's the catch. In August and July, go back to school. I mean, it's normal to go back to school in July, on the first 2 weeks, that is. Anyways, mouse dissection. Went to the biology lab, dead mouse, pinned it on a wooden board, cut it open, many layers actually, the skin, and then the membrane, and another membrane, and then another membrane, and we have to open it up. And the crazy thing was, okay, if you don't like violence, okay, just, you don't have to listen to this part, but we have to so they have guts, they have intestines, and we need to untie the intestines and put it on display so that it's one really beautiful, curve. And people like Kingsley and Leo, their dissections are so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And you think that, people will freak out. No one freaked out. Everyone not loved, but biology is biology, okay? Like, we gotta dissect stuff. It's the reality. So not a single person was disgusted. And even people like Russell, and no one was disgusted. Everyone's fine with cutting up a dead mouse, which is really nice. I mean, it's not nice, okay? It smells, it stinks. But actually it wasn't as disgusting as I expected it would be. Like, I thought it's gonna be all fluids and weird shaped shit. But actually, when I opened up the mouse, I know what is what. I know which organ is what. Like, I can see organs and I know what they are, and it's not like, oh, what is this weird shaped thing. Like, I actually know what they are because I studied biology, you know. Mary also did cut up the mouse, so atta girl. Alright, now I don't know if I should include this in this video or not, but okay. A few more things to talk about before I wrap up. First of all, Keith and Max returns to Hong Kong. Keith was at Canada, Max went to the UK, and they went back to Hong Kong, and of course the first thing they do, they come back, is to meet up with Cedric and hang out with him, of course. And Cedric also returned in the summer, of course, so I was like, okay, I have to meet Cedric, okay? So one time after school, me and Natalie, I was like, so we went to Oliver's place at first, and I think I actually forgot. No, we didn't. But at that point, I have already been to Oliver's apartment, which is known as the drug factory. Anyways, Keith and Natalie. I spoiled it, didn't I? Okay, so me and Natalie, we took a bus to a mall to meet up with Cedric. And Cedric's not alone. Cedric's with Keith's gang. And also Jeffrey's gang. So everyone, like Antison, Josh, Jeffrey was there. Gary also came back to Hong Kong from Australia, and another dude from B class. They were all there, and they were all having burgers. And me and Natalie, we were just awkwardly sitting there. And I know that Keith is a sociopath, and Jeffrey told me to eat shit, you know. But Cedric was there. I have to be there for Cedric. So at the end, we hung out for a little bit, but at the end I left anyways. Keith was acting really, really strange. He acted so innocently. He would laugh in a very innocent and childish way, like ha 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 ha. But inside his head, you know, he's thinking about violence, cutting up people, fucking underage girls. He's a monster. Okay, he's insane. So, a couple days afterwards, Natalie WhatsApped me saying that she fell in love with someone again. And I'm like, fuck. And Natalie said, it's someone you used to know. And I'm like, okay, it's Keith. Now I do hate Keith, but I respect Keith and Natalie's relationship, but their relationship is the most extreme out of all 6 of Natalie's relationships so far. This relationship is the most extreme. They would French kiss on the bus, and they would go around for no reason. Keith would spoil Natalie, keep on paying for her, simping for her. Ooh, Keith the simp. They would do messed up things, you know. And I don't want to go into detail, and again, I respect their privacy, but at one point, Natalie was at Keith's place. Keith suddenly took off his pants and started jerking off to her. And you know what happened afterwards. I don't have to describe it for you. One thing that I'm really happy about is that Natalie did not lose it on that day. Okay? She did not. At least according to her. But Natalie did something, and I didn't even know that happened until September, which really fucked me up, you know. But, you know, that happened. And simultaneously, Pink and Leo, they started to not like Natalie anymore. Because when Natalie hated Topher, Leo and Pink didn't really understand why. And then afterwards, Natalie just kind of drifted away. So Tofu Gang split up. In August, we have extra classes, extra biology classes. I went to school. Didn't see Mary. I actually saw Mary from a distance like a couple times, but wasn't able to speak to her. which was a shame. At one point, after I went to Oliver's apartment, I went back down to the bus stop and I saw Mary, and I was like, Mary. No, I like in my head, I was like, Mary. I thought I was not going to see her, and she shows up. Reverse psychology, okay? But something really weird happens, and that is Mary always gives me these looks, like frowned looks, like this. And it's not like, ooh, you're a creep, but it's like, oh, I'm looking into your soul kind of look. Mary always does this to me, but for the 2 times that I spoke to Mary afterwards, Mary's really nice and soft and sweet, but there's something hidden inside. But yeah. Anyways, that is the end of Form 5. This video is super long. Maybe I have to split it into 2 again. Okay, so to recap, or to wrap up, Form 5 is absolutely depressing. I was a loser. I was an idiot. I tried to socialize with everyone and failing every time. And I feel lonely. I feel like I'm being abandoned, and no one likes me. No one needs me. No one wants me. I still really, really like Mary, and I still can't speak to her for the entirety of the entire year. I finally became friends again with Natalie though, and that's a thing. But at that point, when I and Natalie become friends, I'm already like, whatever. Like, Natalie wanted to murder Topher and torture him, but I'm like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm already done. I'm just happy that Topher lost Natalie, because Topher does not deserve Natalie. In fact, Topher asked Natalie to be his sex slave in WhatsApp, like, oh, can you be my sex slave? Sometimes I dream about raping you and trying out different sex positions. Like, Natalie showed me a screenshot. These are the exact words. So yeah, Topher is a disgusting pervert, and nothing's gonna change that. However, in Form 6, I did so much better, and I actually spoke to Mary, and a lot of good things happened in Form 6, and I will talk about that in another video. Yes! Also, if you're wondering, my diary in Form 5 is mainly this one. Detective, as you can see, really fancy. I love the pages in that there are no lines, so I can just write whatever I want, and also, it's not really exactly Form 5. I mean, it's the second half of Form 5 ever since March 19th, and then some of Form 6 is in here up until October 25th. But yeah, as you can see, really aesthetic stuff, really beautiful stuff. A lot of words, very wordy as well. This April 30th is the day I and Nick went for a Taiwan takeaway. Tastes amazing, by the way. Fried chicken, minced pork rice with milk tea. Yes, Taiwanese food is fantastic. Okay, anyways, Nick spilled the milk tea, like pushed the cup over, and it's just all over the floor, all over the table. And Natalie was so pissed about that. And at that point, Natalie and I, we weren't that close, so this worsened our relationship. But this is a pretty memorable incident where Nick spills the milk tea. Yeah, Jeffrey spoke to me asking me where's Oliver on April 29th. The umbrella incident, May 23rd. Yeah, just also on the last day, Mary suddenly walked towards me and then disappeared. Like, she walked towards me, but I didn't. I walked away from her because I was like, what the, like, I was nervous. And then I walked away from her and I turned, she's gone. That's what happened on the last day. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want more.